Hello everybody, welcome to Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like on this video. Actually, wait. I think we're like right there. 29,933. I'm trying to hit 30k subscribers, so if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. As you have noticed probably lately, we are pumping out a lot of content, including reacting to stuff that otherwise would not get a video on the Rusty Buckets channel, including this one, which is Damian Lillard is signing with the Portland Trail Blazers. Also, I apologize if this footage is choppy. I'm recording from my own laptop, which we have not done in quite a while, so I don't really know what's up with the settings. The Portland Trail Blazers were the option for Damian Lillard that I think made the most sense. Obviously, he has the previously established history there. It's an environment he'll be more comfortable in. It's a place where he probably knows a good amount of the staff, even still after 2 years really gone. So there's a connection there. There's a relationship there. And then I also think that this makes sense for what Portland is aiming to do, where Scoot Henderson is clearly someone who they're banking on to be quite a big deal. They clearly have a good amount of belief in him because with this addition of Damian Lillard, with Jrue Holiday also being present, it's pretty clear they're trying to do their best to put the best possible mentors around him. And I can't think of something much better than the best not the best, but one of the best offensive guards of the last decade and one of the best defensive guards of the last decade. That is truly great company to put around your star guard. And while I do think people have the tendency to overinvest in this idea of veteran leadership and all that, because it's certainly not necessarily all that needed, as proved by the championship that we just saw go down. But for a team that is trying to go from that, the Blazers were pretty solid last year, but a team that's not very good into being a playoff team, veterans make all the difference. Jrue Holiday will have the on-the-court impact, but Damian Lillard after this next year, even if he just ends up being a pretty good, like a 20-point-per-game guy, like 70% of what he was beforehand, but like still a guy who scores 18, 20 on good efficiency, still a pretty good playmaker, still a great three-point shooter and all that, you would have, if Jrue Holiday sticks around for the longer term, him, Scoot, and Damian Lillard. You pretty much always have a good ball handling option on the floor, though Jrue Holiday has definitely lost a good amount of his off-the-dribble juice. As your third option for a ball handler, you're in a pretty good position with him as that choice. So I like this move a lot for Portland. It is a decent bit more money than I would have expected. I'm guessing this is basically the mid-level exception, but of course Damian Lillard is also making a shitload of money from getting waived, so I imagine that is factoring into this, but his injury is also factoring into this. What is the amount? 3-year, 42 million. Yeah, that's like, let's do math real quick. I'm really bad at it. 14 million a year. Yeah, that's the mid-level. So I guess they just gave him the mid-level exception. That makes sense to me. I think it is worth doing. I think a roster spot is really not, like, there's not a player that I think they could have signed for this amount of money that is really going to swing things too dramatically. There are still good free agents available, but not a lot of them that would go for 14 million. And for a team that's also so young, I think it's perfectly fine to sacrifice a roster spot for 1 year for what Damian Lillard could possibly be when he comes back from injury. Now, that's not a guarantee. I think because we've seen players recover from Achilles so well lately, we're like so confident that that's gonna happen every time now. But especially with an older player in Damian Lillard, and I don't think Damian is like made of glass, but he certainly didn't have a super great health track record. If I'm not mistaken, at the very least, he's had years where he missed a lot of time. Let me confirm that. Maybe now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm less confident in it. Yeah, he's had some 60-game seasons. He played 29 games in 2022, 58 and 23, 58 last year. Yeah, so in more recent years, at first started off an Ironman, 82 games every single year for his first 3 years, and then 73 to 80 for the next ones after that. But you're getting into the 60s, 20s, and 50s. So Damian Lillard has had his injury issues. I believe he's specifically had some lower body injury issues, which is not ideal. So not a guarantee that he's going to come back as an all-star level player, but at the worst, unless he's truly disastrous, but more likely than not, maybe not the worst is the right way to, but like a realistic, but also mildly optimistic outcome would be that he's a good player. He's a good backup, like a guy who will score 15 points per game off of the bench. And obviously that is also going to help like the environment and the culture in Portland. I think this is a great marriage of the old and the new, because Dame is at a stage in his career where he needs the young guys to help uplift him because he's an older vet, doesn't have a whole lot of time to compete for a championship, but there's also enough young talent in Portland. They can be a pretty good damn team. Like, especially if Scoot Henderson takes any kind of leap. I'm also big on Shaedon Sharpe. Donovan Klingon's really good. I like the guy they just drafted, Hanson Yang. I don't know who ends up winning as the center there, but there's certainly interesting stuff happening at that position. Denny Avdia, I take a shot at every time because he is a former IDF soldier, but and he still supports Israel very staunchly. But regardless of all of that, he is a good basketball player. Very like, kind of reminds me of Nick Batum at like the end of his Portland tenure when he took on more point forward stuff. So good team. I think they could be a possible play-in team next year because they were a respectable basketball team. They kind of went through these ebbs and flows where there's periods where they actually look quite good, and then they go back to being one of the worst teams in the Western Conference. But it is also incredibly powerful Western Conference. I honestly feel like I think it would be reasonable to say that the Portland Trailblazers could theoretically be a playoff team, could have been a playoff team last year in the Eastern Conference if they faced lesser competition. I don't think their record would have qualified them, but they probably would have had a better record if they were in the East. Anyways, I like this. I think it's good for Dame. I think it's good for Portland. I think it's cool that you got him on like a longer term deal. I'm sure that feels good for Damian Lillard to have this more security. Not that he doesn't have the money in the banks, but I don't know. That stuff is important to people. Like, it's a good compromising amount of money to where he's still, if he is at the end of that deal, he's like, what, 37? He could still get a decent payday better than that, because by then people are going to be making fucking $85 million a year deals and shit like that. But yeah, the Portland Trailblazers, I don't think this does much to make them better this year. The on the court impact will be non-existent, but the off-court stuff, basically more or less being an assistant coach and a mentor on the sidelines, I do think that would go a good bit far. I also think, like, in the long term, let's just say theoretically this really works out. Damian Lillard is playing at like a near star level, at least all-star level, probably off of the bench as a sixth man, or maybe you're in a backcourt situation. I don't know how the defense would look with all that, but like, say the Blazers were to build a championship level team in 3 years, would be a hell of a Cinderella story, a hell of a way to end your career, especially after like the years and years of fighting from people, including myself, wanting him to get out of Portland for his own betterment. The funny thing about that is Portland was better for Damian Lillard leaving because they were worse. They got good players. They got good draft picks. Again, Scoot Henderson, not exactly a guaranteed hit yet, but he has still got plenty of upside, still plenty of reason to believe in his ability to be a star point guard one day. This break from having Dame on the team allowed them to build a core of young players that have a lot of upside. Klingon, Denny, Sharpe, Scoot, all of those guys. You could convince me, Hanson as well. I've liked what I've seen from him. I know much less about him because he hasn't actually touched an NBA floor. There's a lot of good stuff here. Oh, I didn't even mention Kamara. Tumani Kamara. Am I pronouncing that wrong? I apologize if I am. It's cool. I like it. Good story. Better than a lot of the other possible outcomes.